Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday, and you know, it's another episode of Thoughtful Thursdays with me. This is Nareen's Life with MS. I am Nareen, and today for Thoughtful Thursdays, I was actually thinking about, you know, like in terms of limits, right? Reaching a limit. When is it comfortable to reach your limit, right? As you know, a person with MS, I can very easily say that my limits vary on a day-to-day basis, and the reason is simply because the it all depends on how well I sleep. And funnily enough, I sleep differently every night, which means every morning I wake up with a different amount of energy. And so when I talk about my limit, right, a lot of people, especially in MS, tend to boil down their the number of like the amount of energy they have to spoons, right? That a certain activity such as climbing stairs or bathing or anything else takes a certain number of spoons away from you, and you have a set number of spoons. But for someone that actually notices that on a daily basis, that the amount of energy I have is variable, what do I do then? Because every day, one day I might start off with 6 spoons, the other day I start off with 7 spoons. So it is going to be very difficult to, for someone like me, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people with MS who also have very variable levels of energy on a day-to-day basis. So how do you measure up what you can and cannot do, right? I like to take certain activities which I know I do on a daily basis, like um, like taking a bath, for example. The amount of energy it takes me to take a bath and how I feel before it versus how I feel after it, um, does that actually become a good example of that is a standard unit of energy, right? Because it varies on almost a day-to-day basis. And funnily enough, while taking a bath, it's actually one of the only times during the day where I don't have my smartwatch on. So how do I measure how much energy I spend you know taking a bath, right? And even if I go on that trajectory, how do I do it? So I wanted to make today's Thoughtful Thursday about just this idea of when your energy levels vary on a day-to-day basis, what becomes the standard you know unit of measurement of just understanding how much energy do you have to spend. Because one of the things I like doing, especially as someone who wants to be as active as possible, is to try and see that I get you know very close to being exhausted by the end of the day. And by that I mean to the extent that my head makes contact with the pillow and I am in slumberland, right? I want to be that person because I think that is maybe a good use of my energy, because I know that, at least for me, my sleep is relatively standard. At least, uh, 6 hours that are relatively deep, um, and then about 1.5 to 2.5 hours that are relatively light, and those light hours happen to be in the morning. And it all depends on, when I wake up in the middle of the night to use, the washroom. So, I did want to um, get your opinion on how should I ensure that I can, you know engage my body enough that, towards the end of the day, I'm at, very a very low level of energy that is good enough for me to, very easily fall asleep. Because, a lot of times, if I have too much energy, come night time, suddenly I'm not able to sleep for a couple of hours, and that pretty much eats into um, my sleep. And then that obviously impacts the amount of energy I have the next day. So, you know, obviously, my reasoning for trying to expend as much energy as possible is pretty much dependent on, how I choose to not only spend my day, but how I choose to use my energy. So, and because this is something that, I'll have to learn and adapt, especially now that, um, I like to think that, I'm definitely in a very stable environment where a lot of things are not changing. uh, I do want to see some progress in terms of my energy levels increasing on a day-to-day basis, and I definitely do want to incorporate, uh, you know me using my body in the right ways to ensure that, that at least there is some standards when it comes to, the really important things like sleeping, and making sure that, I have this a very nice good level of energy in the morning when I wake up. So that was, I think that was a relatively short, thoughtful Thursday, but I just wanted to, you know, pretty much request everyone to share their ideas of what they think I can do, whether it is, um, you know, trying to portion out the exercises I might do during the day, the number of times I get up, and how I get up, and what I end up doing, right? It might also be dealing with the amount of water I consume. I mean, I try to consume at least, I want to say, 2 liters, but a lot of times I know that I fall short of that. So, at least the one good part is that when it comes to water consumption, at least I have the same bottle of water, at least 3 of them, so that I know I can measure the amount of water I've had through the day. So I kind of want to do that with my energy as well. And I definitely would love to have your inputs and insights on this, so that I can definitely, make use of my energy throughout the day to the best possible extent. And with that said, I mean, please do share your comments so that we can get the conversation started. And with that being said, I wish you a good night. This has been Thoughtful Thursday. This is Nareen's Life with MS. I am Nareen, and good night, everyone.